Helen cares for her son Robin. He was born with a heart condition, respiratory vulnerabilities, developmental delay, mobility issues and Down syndrome. Helen gave up work as a teacher to support Robin, and she relied on carer's allowance. She also received some royalties for online resources that she'd created as an education provider. She was paid these every 6 months, but the DWP considered them as monthly earnings. It stopped her carer's allowance and informed her that she'd incurred overpayments going back over 4 years. She was charged over £2,000 and was told to pay back £50 per week. And this is in her words: "There was no care of how we would live or survive. It took me 3 very long years to repay the debt. It hung over like a great shadow, the letters, the fear of what would come. We were devastated by the department's actions. Carers just don't have bank balances that can stretch and withstand such pressures. You are so vulnerable. It shouldn't be this difficult." So I welcome the fact that the government has accepted the vast majority of the recommendations and set aside £75 million to implement them. I welcome the announcement made yesterday that government has launched an audit of over 200,000 carers allowance cases which were affected by unclear government guidance that was in place between 2015 and 2025. And their cases will now be reviewed, with the debts potentially reduced, cancelled or refunded for some 25,000 unpaid carers. I believe, however, there are several categories of people who've been adversely affected whose cases remain outstanding. It appears that DWP is only accepting responsibility for those affected by unlawful guidance on average earnings and not for the lack of clear guidance on expenses deductions. I would ask the Minister to ensure that DWP fully addresses all aspects of maladministration as the audit begins. Firstly, consider cases where information was held by DWP regarding expenses but did not act on them or correct them for many years. Secondly, urge him to ensure that recommendations regarding those for whom data has been lost by DWP are dealt with as Liz Sayce recommends. And thirdly, those affected by the failure to adjust universal credit correctly, where Sayce recommended that DWP UC arrears. I would be grateful if the Minister could address whether the audit will include review for these missing groups in his response.